Good to go? All right, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Good? How was lunch? All right, I always hate being the speech after lunch because I feel like it's my duty to keep people awake. But welcome to Trailhead DX. I'm DeVaris Brown. And today we're going to be talking about optimizing dev team collaboration with Heroku Teams, Heroku Flow, and Heroku ChatOps. So that's me. I'm a PM for Heroku on the DevX team. That's my alter ego, and if you want to follow me on Twitter, DeVaris P. Brown, as I. If you've attended any other talks, you know, please do not make any purchasing decisions based off future features that may or may not be discussed in this talk. Make your purchasing decisions based on what's available in the market today. All right, that out the way, who's ready to have some fun? Yes. All right. So, we're going to talk a little bit about what Heroku is, go over what the current state of the collaboration is, and how would one innovate with Heroku, and how would one scale and collaborate with Heroku. So, show of hands, who knows what Heroku is? People who don't work for Heroku. All right. That's good. So I don't have to do too much explaining. Who's actually built something using Heroku? A little less hands. All right. Who actually has something running right now on Heroku? Okay. Who pays for Heroku? Say thank you, Blake. He's our sales guy. So what is Heroku? We're PaaS. We're a really great way to build applications, to build and deploy applications on the cloud. So normally folks would actually do all the stuff in the purple, right? Typical startup flow. What you're doing is, you're going to AWS, you pick any number of their services, you read Hacker News or, TechCrunch to figure out what the latest and greatest is. You probably spend a few days trying to get all this stuff configured and all of that, right? But we do all that for you, right? That's why it's purple, Heroku purple. And the only thing that we want you to do is focus on building features and building your app, right? And don't just take my word for it. Take the logo suit side for it, words for it, right? And all these big customers use Heroku. It's not just for small folks or toy apps, right? How many of you all been to a hackathon and used Heroku or something like that, right? Like, that's pretty much everybody's kind of recipe for getting something up and going, but we never really talk about the customers that are on top of our platform. So here you go. The reason why a lot of these customers use Heroku is because speed matters, right? You have to be agile because agile gives you the ability to move quickly and easily, right? You have to stay out in front of, your competition. You have to get out in front of market forces. You got to be on top of user feedback. And you got to get away from those pesky haters, right? Because agility is all about iteration. The quicker you're able to move through this software development lifecycle, right, the faster that you can get to address user feedback, market needs, all those good things, and hopefully make more money, right? And that's all we want to do, right? How many of you all like money? How many of you all like nice things, right? Yeah, exactly. And really the only way that you can do that is through iteration. And the way that you do that is to have a very, very prescriptive workflow on how you get apps from idea and conception all the way to production, out to the world, so you can get that feedback from it. Everybody in the Valley has heard of, move fast and break things, right? Really, the only way that Facebook was able to do that is because they had the infrastructure to support it, right? They have thousands of engineers that really think about, hey, how do I make, deploying my MongoDB migrations faster, right? Like, those are the kinds of decisions that you have to think about once you get there. So the incumbent, as far as workflow, is Git. How many of you all use Git or Git-based deployment flow, right? So this slide basically looks very, very, very familiar to you, right? You start with a master branch, then you create a feature branch off master. You submit a pull request against master and you discuss those changes, right? Ideally, here's where you push to staging after it's been accepted. And then basically test it out with a little bit of a segment of your live traffic. And then once everything goes okay, and it looks good, you basically cut that feature branch, put it to master, maybe tag it with the version, right? And then you push it to production after that. And you do more tests and all that stuff, right? Sounds good, right? But my seasoned developers out here know that there's a few things missing, all right? So to actually be really, really, really productive, you have to configure a whole bunch of stuff on top of GitHub, right? So I got to configure my CI. Even though some of it may be easy, right? Like a lot of it is, hey, put a travis.yml in my Git repo. It automatically runs tests for me, all that type of stuff, right? But how many of y'all have actually tried to set up a Jenkins server? Was it a good experience? Exactly. Did anybody have a good experience setting up Jenkins? Okay, just wanted to make sure. And then, if I want to do visual testing, right, I can pick any number of vendors out there to do visual testing with, like Sauce Labs, cross-browser testing, Percy, and all that stuff. But again, I need to go out and set these things up, right? And it basically makes me feel like I'm like Dr. Frankenstein, kind of cobbling all of these things together, piecing these things together, right? So the choice is yours, really. Do you want to basically spend most of your time maintaining infrastructure, right? Writing config files, thinking about how you can make that process more efficient and better and tailored to your developer team? Or do you want to be out there writing features, this or that, all right? Nobody caught the "this is yours" thing? The choice is yours. Man, I gotta widen out for my audiences here. But you actually have a good option, right? The reason why you all are sitting out here in this audience is because Heroku allows you to innovate faster with that, right? If you're a single developer with a startup, or you're working on an enterprise inside of an enterprise company, Heroku gives you these options. And so we got a few things that will help you be more productive and get to the innovation. So, the components of Heroku Flow. We allow you to connect to GitHub, right? So you'll be able to sync with GitHub, right? So any pushes to master, we can detect the webhooks and take some action based off of that information, right? We have pipelines, which is our continuous delivery option, right? So all those people that raised their hands that have set up Jenkins before, my man said he had a wonderful time setting that up, right? We have that as well. Review apps, that allows you to do visual testing, all right? So once I make some changes, I can see my code in the browser before it actually gets pushed to production. We have built-in continuous integration, so it'll run my tests for me once it receives some events. And then this new thing called ChatOps, right, which is not newish, but it's new inside of the industry, right? It allows you to be productive where you are, all right? So let's take a look at and I'll show a demo of this later, but the basics of what Heroku Flow is, all right? So I create a branch. Once I create that branch, I have some apps in somewhere. Push it up. A lot of you folks know Git push Heroku master. But I push this to my GitHub repo. It runs CI for me, all right? Once that CI passes for me, it allows me to, it gives me some sort of status in real time. I can merge that branch and then push to and promote that to production. Very, 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 very simple. If you notice, I don't have a lot of logo soup on here except Salesforce and Heroku, right? Because all those things that I talked about before are actually native to the platform. We'll show a little bit of that later. The interesting thing is that this flow allows you to be productive as a single developer or a developer working on team and inside of a team. So how does one collaborate and scale with Heroku, right? And again, the message here is that teams are more productive, they're more agile when they have prescriptive workflows. If you know every day when I go into work, I have a set of 4 or 5 commands that I can run to either pull down the environment or push it up. That makes life so much easier. How many of you all actually are dealing with that problem? Like you don't know how you can have dev prod parity right now, right? Like you set up your app in prod, and the app that runs on your laptop is completely different. Different data, different configs, all of that stuff, right? Like that is a known problem. And so Heroku sits on the inside of that, so we give you the tools to make you be productive, whether you're in the cloud or on your laptop. And these are pretty much problems that are faced by all types of teams of any size, right? Like, you need to onboard new developers, right? Developers have different environments, different requirements, different teams, those types of things. Now that we're in this remote culture, people are collaborating across borders and boundaries, right? And then different stakeholders need to be made more aware of what's going on. You need that visibility across the platform of what is going on inside of each of your environments. So Heroku Flow enables that, right? So whereas your team could be, mostly stay in Slack, your team could be based in GitHub, or you can have this notion of a Heroku team. But we're playing all of those sandboxes so that we enable you to be productive. So this is our little demo, right? They told me I couldn't do this live because of the Wi-Fi. I was ready to do it. I've only been at Heroku for 4 months, so I was itching to go. But you see, you have staging and prod, right, in the same app. And this is what our pipelines view looks like. And then you can see you have your review apps. So the easiest thing that we can do is that you can actually configure your app and staging to have automatic deploys from your master branch on GitHub. So I push up to GitHub master, and it'll actually deploy directly to staging. Same thing with prod. All right, I can sit there, I can actually view what the app that's on my production server from a menu item, all right? And notice that both of the SHAs are the same in staging and production, right? And notice the little green check on there, right? And notice that I can actually view this app inside of a browser, again, from staging, right? Very, very simple. The icons above the review app section show that review apps are enabled, parent app name, and who's getting billed, which is very, very good because you need visibility across all of the various collaborators, right? But let's make some changes, right? So right now I'm going to change the background from purple to red and make a pull request against the master branch. So please forgive my expert CSS abilities right now. Let this go. We're making these changes right inside of GitHub, so we don't have to go to the IDE. Once this pull request is made, we can have a discussion around this. Notice that there are some checks. So continuous integration is waiting to pass before this is actually deployed. And you can actually navigate to the test tab to check on the status for all of your tests per pull request. So a little bit of lag here, but as you can see, the tests are running now, right? Like everything is updated in real time. Once you click on the actual test that's running, you can expand the actual config files inside of the dashboard, and you can see real-time status. Back on GitHub, you'll see that there's a button that allows you to view this deployment, right? And so you can do this in a couple areas. We worked with GitHub to build this native integration, right? So you can actually see if you work in GitHub or if you work in Slack or if you work actually in Heroku, you'll be able to see this, all right? So you saw the new background that we have in the dashboard. Eventually, you'll see the SHA. It's changed. And now you can actually view this review app, right? So that URL that you create for that review app is shareable. So remember, we talked about the visual testing with Sauce Labs. You can actually do this with your review app, right? You can take that URL and you can share that out. And if we click the commit number, we can navigate back to GitHub, have a conversation about the PR, looks good to me, and then we can merge that back into master. So back in the dashboard, once this comes back, yep, there it goes. This has been successfully merged. Back in the dashboard, this review app should have disappeared. And the changes now are actually being built inside of staging, as you can see by the building app, right? So you can get a real-time log as to how it's been built. Many of you guys have used Heroku before. You've noticed this. And then now we can go ahead and view those changes on staging. And it's coming up. So from purple to red, look at that beautiful, beautiful design work. So back to our dashboard, we can actually see the tests have passed with the green check. And we can promote this to production. And it's actually easy as a click of a button at this point, all right? Notice the SHAs now are different. And once we click commit, you can actually show your commits here, or you can actually show your commits on GitHub, right? We actually give you that diff list just so that you can see it. So once you view everything and think everything's okay, we can click promote. Notice the SHAs are the same on staging and production. And the release has been created. And then we can view this inside of the browser. And voila, staging, production, review apps, all of that, all right? Is anybody amazed and wild? Ah. So one of the actually really cool things about Heroku is that when I got there, I didn't notice that we had this thing called ChatOps, right? So how many of you all use Slack in your day-to-day work? Wow, good number of you. So pretty much everything that you can do via the command line, as far as like all of that good Heroku Flow, you can do via ChatOps. And if you see in one of the pictures here, Stella, who's an engineer on the tools team at Heroku, she actually just wants to promote a particular app from staging to prod. That's a / command in Slack, right? You don't have to, go inside of the command line if you want to. You can literally do all this information in Slack. And again, don't take my word for it. We had a large pharmaceutical customer that literally it took them 60 days to deploy infrastructure. 60 days to deploy infrastructure down to 2 minutes using Heroku. Like, how many of you all like work in that type of environment where you actually have to get something provisioned first? It has to go through a security audit. It has to go through a compliance audit, right? It's a little less so these days in the age of cloud computing, but there are still places that have to go through this. This company was one of those companies, all right? And it took them 60 days to wait for that. And by that time, remember before we said that speed matters, right? We wanted people to be agile. You want to get out there to react to market forces. Even if you are a large pharmaceutical company, 60 days is still a long time. 2 months, a lot can happen in 60 days, all right? But we went in and we talked to them about how you can actually provision this, right? Using Heroku, click create pipeline, configure a pipeline in CI, and then you actually get to start innovating, right? Innovation is not relegated to just startups. It can be big companies as well. So, we talked a bit about GitHub Sync, pipelines, review apps, Heroku CI, and ChatOps, right? These are the components that build up our Heroku Flow that enable you to be more productive, to enable you to collaborate, and that enable you to be agile so that you can go ahead and innovate and react to these market forces, all right? So how many of you all are excited about trying this stuff now? Gonna go back, all right? Yeah. Well, if you want to learn more, you can go to our Heroku Flow trail and come down and see me at the Heroku booth. I'm actually going to be there doing some more demos, all right, showing this stuff live. So thank you. And this is going to be like church, right? We got two mics set up in the aisles. If you got any questions, come on and ask, and I'll do my best.
So is there anything else that ChatOps does other than just being able to run command line functions?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a loaded question, man. It does a lot, right? So yes, it does run command line functions. But you can get visibility into the health of your app as well. So there's some commands that allow you to do that. You can basically check on tests that have passed. You can promote. You can create all these types of things. All right. So we took a lot of the functionality that's in the CLI that you're used to, and moved that over to Slack.
Got it. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Anybody else have a question? Don't be shy. Nobody? Oh, man. Oh, here we go.
Can we have different command lines when we promote in the pipeline? Like for staging, I want to run all the tests, unit tests.
So it's a command line switch, right? So you can do Heroku pipelines promote -- staging or blah, 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 right? Or Heroku pipelines : staging -- app, and then whatever your name is, right? Like, yeah. So you can basically specify which environment that you want to promote whatever app that you're developing into via the command line.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Hi, what other features are you thinking of implementing in the future, in the near future?
I don't know that I'm allowed to answer that question. Yeah, honestly, that was part of the future slide. But there are some other DVCSs that we are probably going to be looking into. Probably more productivity where developers are developing their apps. I don't know how you want to read into that, but probably that's what we're going to be venturing into as well. But yes, I think that's about as far as I can go. Any other questions? Are you all thoroughly amazed and enthralled and just your mind is blown so you're not able to ask? Oh, shit, I did a good job. All right. Well, thank you all for coming. You can have a few minutes back. Have a good rest of the day. Enjoy TDX.